I have a sister, Anne, 2 years older than me. Anne is and always has been my mom's favorite. Growing up, my mom got Anne everything she wanted: new clothes, toys, electronics, her own bedroom, and a one-bedroom apartment. I slept on the floor in the living room with Mom, etc. We were poor, so sometimes my mom would borrow money, take out loans, hustle, or play her luck gambling to get her what she wanted. But if I were to ask for anything, I always got hit with the "next time, we don't have the money." I was also denied specific experiences that my sister got to have. For example, I wasn't allowed to date, go to friends' houses, or walk to the store alone. My mom rationalized this by saying she treated us differently because of our personalities, with my sister being the diva and me being the quiet one. I've come to accept that she loves us differently, and I've moved on with my life. I now have a son of my own, and my sister has 2 kids as well. For Christmas, we all plan to meet at my mom's house. My mom also enlisted me to help with preparations, so I've been taking her to the store, setting up decorations, etc. I was helping her put the final touches on the tree recently and arranging the gifts when I noticed that Anne's kids had many more gifts than my son. Specifically, Anne's kids had about 12 gifts apiece, while my son had 3. I commented on it. She said that since my son is small, he's a preschooler, he'll outgrow everything fast, both clothes and toys, so she didn't get him much. I let it go, but it still bothered me. My sister's kids are a pre-tween and a young grammar schooler, which means they'll grow fast too, making her excuse a bit lame. I asked her about it again, and she admitted that it was because Anne's kids are special. She said that they were her heart and soul. I felt hurt, but I thought I was being too sensitive. I talked to my husband about it, and he agreed it was hurtful and questioned whether we should go to my mom's for Christmas. I decided we wouldn't go and called my mom to tell her. She got mad and said I was childish and needed to get over it because all grandmothers have their picks when it comes to grandchildren. She said she still loves my son and thinks I'll be hurting him by not letting him see her on Christmas. She's told Anne about it and other people vaguely over Facebook, and Anne more or less said it's our problem and she's going to enjoy Christmas either way. Am I the idiot for not going to my mom's house for Christmas? Oh my God, absolutely not the idiot. Your mother and your sister are cruel. Hold on to your husband and your son for dear life and run from these evil people. Your son doesn't need a constant reminder that he's not grandma's favorite and grandma likes the other grandkids more. Protect your family and give them the love you never got from your mother. As the grandkid who had to watch my grandmother favor my 2 cousins, it hurts. As a child, when you're treated this way, you have no idea why, which makes it hurt even more. It wasn't until I grew up that I realized that not only were my brother and I treated differently, but my dad, who financially supported her, was also treated differently. I made the decision to go no contact and never regretted it. The very fact that OP was the one helping prep her mom's Christmas, while her mom favors her sister and her kids, tells you everything you need to know about who will be expected to care for her mom when she's old. No contact starting now is the best way to dodge that bullet. By the way, sister will swan in and count the gifts when the work's done. Leave before the dishes get washed too, I assume. Of course Anne will enjoy it. She'll be even more the center of attention, and it's easier to complain about you when you aren't there. Mom is only mad because she needs OP to serve and clean up dinner. OP shouldn't go. Let her sister wash the dishes for once. No, wait. Mom will have to do it. Enjoy your totally mom-free life. She treated you like a second-class citizen for your whole life. It's time for her to know what that felt like. On Thanksgiving, my daughter lost her AirPods. We did find the AirPods and they were at my sister's house in my nephew Adam's, young teen, bedroom. He claims it was a mistake and he thought they were his. But when we got them back, the AirPods were still in the pink donut carrying clip that my daughter uses. Adam has made a lot of mistakes over the years, from taking gaming controllers, AirPods, and toys that he randomly finds. This has been an ongoing issue, And I think at his age, it's time for Adam to stop making these mistakes. I told my sister and Adam that he wasn't welcome at my home for Christmas because he had made a mistake and stolen other people's things. I don't think I'm being mean, but I'm sick of this little thief who has no consequences, and I don't want him in my home anymore. Because of this, my mom is hosting Christmas because I don't want to. I made it clear to my family why. I think it's past time we addressed Adam's issue. My mother and sister think I'm going about this the wrong way, and I'm too mean to Adam over a little mistake. But I'm honestly just sick of being around him. I had to tell my kids not to take any expensive or new gifts they like to Grandma's. I've also told them to stop sharing with Adam, and any gifts we unwrap at Grandma's go straight to the car to be locked up. The situation makes me angry because now I feel like I have to punish my kids for Adam's behavior, and they can't play with their things on Christmas and have to be vigilant because their cousin steals. And no one but me seems to give two craps about how wrong that is. Adam has had a lot of mistakes over the years, from taking gaming controllers, AirPods, and toys that he randomly finds. What darn mistakes? Well, you can start correcting things by not using language that hides the truth of the matter. When your sister makes another mistake, say Adam steals things. Call a spade, and don't feel bad about it. If your mother, sister, or Adam have problems with that, then tell them to look at themselves, their words, their actions, and their character. You are not the idiot. I disagree. If you tell a child they're a thief, they'll believe you and make it part of their identity. You have to word it until Adam learns to stop stealing, or Adam has been stealing without consequence. Make it about the behavior. If no one addresses his sticky fingers, there are no consequences to his kleptomania, and you, OP, don't have any mandate to do anything about it. You're entitled to ban him from your home. Educate your kids on how to protect their belongings from him and warn them about him by name. He's a bad influence, and you don't want your home and your kids to be hurt by him, or worse, pick up those behaviors for themselves. They learn by example that being a bad apple has no shame or consequences. It's not even kleptomania. Kleptos are preoccupied with stealing things that have little to no value. Nephew is just a thief, plain and simple. I had a thief niece. She would steal anything that wasn't attached. It made family gatherings uncomfortable. Sadly, we found out too late she had a serious drug problem. She stole everything she could to fund the habit she created. She left behind 2 teenage daughters who are now being raised by her ex-girlfriend and her new wife. Geez, it sounds like daytime television, but don't let this kiddo learn that if he says it was an accident, he gets away with it. He will end up in a lot of trouble one day because of his sticky fingers. I, 24 female, recently moved to the city in which most of my paternal family lives. I grew up in another city and went to college on a different coast. I wasn't close with them, spending only 6 Christmases with them growing up. I visited everyone in person once when I moved, so they knew I was living in the same city. I'm a pretty good cook and baker, so when I was invited to a potluck family party at my grandparents', I brought chicken stew, which received a lot of praise. One of my aunts asked if I also baked, and I said yes, showing them a few pics of my baked goods. My cousin Lisa, 30 female, then invited me to her little girl gathering, telling me it was a drink and dessert party and that the theme was chocolate. I made a beautiful white chocolate cake for the party. It wasn't big, as Lisa told me there would be 10 people attending, but because it was small, I could make it a little fancy with silver and white winter decorations. Everyone exclaimed how beautiful the cake was, and when Lisa put it on the table, it stood out, as the rest were different shades of chocolate brown. My cake was praised. The food and drink were delicious. I hung out with my cousins and met Lisa's friends and her husband's family. I thought everyone was nice. Later, Lisa called me, not exactly complaining, but telling me next time I should have kept to the party's theme. I told her I did, as white chocolate is chocolate. Lisa said that her husband's sister and a couple of nieces thought it was inappropriate for me to bring a dish that stood out so much, completely ignoring the party theme. They felt all everyone talked about was my cake. They asked Lisa to tell me to tone it down, or don't invite them and me to the same party because they can't stand someone so attention-seeking. Personally, I don't think I did anything wrong, but this is a group of 3 people thinking the same thing. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She should have said that if Lisa wanted a chocolate party where everything was brown. If she wanted a chocolate party without white chocolate, she should have said that. Absent other instructions, you honored the theme. I'm sensing that Lisa's just jealous of your baking and cooking skills. FYI for the future, and I'm sure you know this, but white chocolate contains no cocoa or cacao solids, and sometimes not even cocoa butter, so it is debatable whether it's chocolate at all. Also, many people who like chocolate explicitly do not like white chocolate. I suspect even if you had asked Lisa her opinion on white chocolate, she would have still found a reason to be unhappy. I completely agree that she would have found a reason to be unhappy regardless. This sounds like a witch eating crackers complaint by Lisa and Company. Ignore and stop letting them have your delicious cake in the future. She wasn't upset that the cake was white. She was upset the cake was better than hers. Lisa's jealous, plain and simple. I guarantee no one said those things to her. No one. She's lying to you because everyone loved your beautiful cake. I love that you did something different. Our daughter, Kayla, nearly adult, has been asking for a laptop for a while. Money's been tight, so my wife and I saved up to get it for her for Christmas. I couldn't wait to give it to her. The other day, I came home from work and found Kayla upset, my wife in a mood, and our son, Martin, teen, looking pleased. I asked my wife in private what was going on. She started venting to me that Kayla is an ungrateful brat. We should return her gift, etc. She then explained that she and our son decided to pull a small prank on our daughter. Martin told Kayla that my wife had said to him that instead of the laptop, Kayla was getting the amount it cost in gift cards to various stores, clothing, food, etc. Not places you could buy a laptop because she felt she wasn't ready for one. Kayla got very upset and asked my wife if this was true. My wife said yes and added, maybe next year. Kayla got upset and said this wasn't fair. She only asked for one thing. Clearly money wasn't an issue. My wife admits she started laughing, which made Kayla even more upset, and she told my wife she was a jerk. My wife feels how Kayla reacted to the prank showed her true colors. And what if we couldn't afford it? I pointed out that we had told Kayla in the past that we couldn't afford it, and she took it well. It seems that the issue was knowing that we had the money and could have bought it but allegedly didn't. I asked her what she expected to come from this little prank and called her childish for roping Martin into it. I said I'm not returning the laptop. My wife is mad at me and says that Kayla needs to be punished. I also made my wife tell Kayla it was all a prank. Kayla apologized for calling my wife a jerk, but said that the prank was super hurtful. My wife refused to apologize and doubled down that she didn't feel Kayla deserved it. Martin did apologize for his role. Am I the idiot? Edit. My wife is Kayla's biological mother. My wife has always pulled pranks on both kids. Martin finds them funny. Kayla doesn't, which bothers my wife. And then they argue. Then my wife gets mad because I defend Kayla. Not the idiot. I'm sorry, but your wife is very mean-spirited. She pulled the prank with the express purpose of upsetting her daughter and then got angry when she got the result she wanted. This is awful behavior, and your wife behaved like a bully. She's being deliberately cruel to a teenager and giggling about it? Exactly. Pulling pranks on someone who doesn't enjoy them is called bullying. If your kid had told her to stop and your wife refuses, your wife has a problem. Man, your family sounds delightful. How wonderful it must be to be married to such a mean-spirited woman and have raised an equally unkind son. I'm sure you must beam with pride. Your wife is a mean girl to her daughter. Kayla's old enough to start going no contact with her mother in a few months, too. Your wife fully set Kayla up. She didn't play a prank on her. She wanted to upset her. And now your wife is angry because your daughter snapped back in her own defense. OP, you have bigger problems than who's getting what for Christmas this year. I've been with my husband, Adam, for 12 years in total. We have 3 young children, and for the last 3 Christmases, Adam's family has come from different states to spend Christmas at my house. Originally, his parents hosted Christmas, but due to having babies, etc., we didn't want to fly. Everyone's been happy with this arrangement, meaning 5 of his family members stay here for 5 days over Christmas. This includes his brother Matthew and his other brother and sister-in-law. Matthew's a good kid, even though he's 26 now and is very much the youngest child. When he was younger, he was a bit of a wild child, partying, etc. The family was happy when he seemed to get into a serious relationship with Alice last year. I have no issue with Alice. I invited everyone to Christmas in June. I did not invite Alice. I assumed she'd be seeing her family. I got a message a couple of weeks ago from my mother-in-law about Christmas, and she mentioned Alice wanting to make a dish. I replied back, stating I didn't know Alice was coming, and she wasn't invited. This caused a load of text messages and phone calls. I eventually left this until Adam was around to deal with it. Adam thinks Alice should come. However, there's no room in the house. Matthew usually sleeps in the office, and this would not fit a double bed. In addition, while I like Alice, I don't want people who may not know my children in 10 years here on Christmas Day. Adam and I have majorly fallen out about it, so he went back and said there was no room in the house, but Matthew and Alice were welcome to get an Airbnb or a hotel and come round on Christmas Day. At this point, Matthew just said he wasn't coming if they weren't welcome. This has now caused my mother-in-law to state that she just might host a small Christmas at home. Adam's other brother and sister-in-law are clearly debating this option. Adam now wants to go back to Matthew and say it's no issue if they sleep in the snug. Again, I don't like this setup, as my kids use that room as a living room and playroom, and it's their Christmas. Adam and I argued this morning, and he went out hours ago and has just texted to say he'll be back this evening. He needs to cool off, and I need to consider how selfish I'm being. So am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're making a huge deal out of something that should be a non-issue. Couldn't you suck it up for the holiday to keep the peace and be inclusive? Holidays are about togetherness. If they're okay with sleeping in the office together, God bless them. Why do you care about your kids spending a holiday with someone who may not be there in 10 years? That's a ridiculous notion. You're being unkind, selfish, and exclusive. If I were Matthew and Alice, I wouldn't be comfortable coming to your house at this point. Can't blame the rest of the family for making other arrangements. Totally agree, and the whole may not be around in 10 years is crap. I mean, has OP never heard of divorce? The other brother's wife could be out of the picture next year. Holidays are inclusive. Alice has been around for a year. Better get used to the fact that the younger partying brother has settled down and has an SO, not a one-night stand. OP, you have no one to blame for the ruined Christmas but yourself. Maybe it'll be just your nuclear family this year if everyone goes to mother-in-law's. And don't be surprised if your husband also goes. Talk about blowing up a family for no reason. You were once the girlfriend too, and how do you think you get welcomed into the family if no one was willing to make space for you? It's also kind of gross to point out that brother-in-law was a wild child when he was 26 and has had the same girlfriend for a year. Literally nothing weird or wily about a 25-year-old dude being single and dating through 25. Your husband should leave Scrooge home and take the kids to his mother's with the rest of the family. Good grief. There's nothing like creating completely unnecessary drama around the holidays.